Aramutse neza mwese. Senior leaders of our country, judges and prosecutors, members of the Rwandan Bar Association, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to join you to launch the new judicial year. Let me start by thanking everyone in the sector for your service to our country. I congratulate you for the progress the judiciary continues to make every year in improving both the speed and quality of justice delivered. In the last 22 years, we have witnessed the systematic growth, reform, and modernization of the judiciary, keeping pace with the wider transformation that our country, Rwanda, is undergoing. The fruit of your commitment and efforts is first and foremost the high trust Rwandan citizens have in our judiciary system. This fact has also been recognized by several international institutions where Rwanda is consistently highly ranked, as also the Chief Justice has mentioned. These achievements should serve as motivation to do even better, because as capacity increases and new ways of working become entrenched, the challenges we face become more complex. There are several factors that will help us make even more progress in the years to come. First, the recent reforms of police and criminal justice agencies aim to strengthen our institutions and make them more efficient as well. The effectiveness of the reorganization will be evaluated against enhanced standards. The more streamlined institutions will have the opportunity to grow and acquire the capacity to respond more effectively to the requirements of local and global law enforcement. Second, I'm pleased to learn that the new case management system is being widely used. This program needs to be fully functional as possible, as soon as possible, as the system is critical to good service delivery. All government institutions involved in its implementation must work closely together to ensure sufficient resources are allocated and all other associated obstacles are resolved, and it is simply too important to fail. Finally, the integrity of the judiciary must remain a top priority. I have every confidence that with continued hard work, we will mobilize all the resources and technical capacity required for an efficient and professional sector. But judicial personnel must always try to be beyond reproach. For the judiciary to serve its purpose, and maintain the confidence of citizens. The Chief Justice was talking about training, retraining, and all these are very important. And they mainly work to improve knowledge and expertise. But there is also a difference. There is what works on the mind, the knowledge, the expertise, but we have to figure out what works to improve what we have in our hearts. Because what you have in your heart will also influence what you have upstairs. Because you can abuse the level of knowledge and expertise you have. And that is normally what we see. And you are not going to change your heart by just more training. So as you acquire more training and more knowledge, you need to be working on your heart. Yes, and I think that is with you to decide how you use your knowledge and expertise, so that in exercise of your duty and with sufficient knowledge and expertise, justice, real justice, should be delivered. It's not a good thing that we can continue to witness cases of extreme abuse, whether it is the case of abuse of our children, or in many ways, rape, other sexual abuses, or children and adults being sold like potatoes on the market. And when these cases, even when they are backed by evidence, sometimes, depending on who is involved, these people get away with responsibility in these extreme cases. So here, sometimes it is not a lack of knowledge or expertise, it is a lack of sensitivity. It's a lack of something that should be guiding us to make sure that we think about those who at the receiving end, the actual victims. These children or the parents of those children. So I leave it with you to continue trying to improve on the outcomes of such justice processes. So we expect that you will continue to take appropriate actions to ensure the integrity of judicial decisions, even where there are these challenges that I have already mentioned. It is clear that there is increasing satisfaction in the work of government in general and in our judiciary in particular. So we want to thank you for that, and as we continue. In the past year, the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda has wound down and most remaining cases transferred to our courts. Other suspects have been extradited or deported from other countries to stand trial here in our country. That's a good thing. We want to see more of this happen. And more of that will happen as we also continue to show our increasing capability to deal with such cases. However, of course, there are going to continue to be all kinds of problems, as you know, and as the Chief Justice has also mentioned already. Because of many reasons. One of them, the reason of political expediency or personal convictions. But this is a duplicity we should be used to, or maybe we are already used to. And the kind of duplicity I'm talking about is not likely to end anytime soon, as you know. There are so many judgments made out there whose basis is simply a question of dishonesty and deliberate distortion. And some of these things, in fact, do not even meet the standards those people claim to uphold in their own systems. So we have a much bigger challenge than the ordinary one we discuss every day. There is what we can do, there is what we must do. There are right things to do, But at the end of the day, if you are dealing with other people who think they own you or they can exploit you or treat you in any manner that they want, that doesn't meet the standard to which they hold themselves and their own people, then that is a different issue we have to deal with, and it increases the magnitude of the problems we have to deal with. So, as you sit here, do not think you are dealing or you have to deal with just ordinary circumstances and cases. You have to be performing beyond that kind of standard that deals with just normal, ordinary things because of this situation I'm talking about. Because people don't choose to deal with real facts. Even in the courts of law, as you are used to, you people for us here today, some people don't need evidence for anything. They will just make decisions. Make decisions about you, about your own country and some other countries on our continent. There is no requirement for fact, there is no requirement for basis of evidence. It's just what they have decided to do for completely different reasons. So even with these cases you are talking about, they will handle these cases the way they want based on completely different facts. And therefore, it's not the kind of evidence situation that you are used to. But, as you know, I think you and me in this country, in our country, we have decided. That's what I believe. I think that's what you believe. If there are those who have been telling us lies, that's a different matter, but I think we have decided we are not going to be deterred from our primary interest and responsibility, which is to deliver to Rwandans, to ourselves, the justice, well-being, and the dignity all Rwandans need and deserve. And of course, this situation has been there from the beginning, in any case. I think we started even from a much worse situation, against so many odds. And I think we have made good progress. There has been good progress that we can be proud of today. Let me, before I close my remarks, because of what I've been talking about for the last 3 minutes or so, provide some evidence which for you need, but others don't need, about what I'm saying, about the odds and challenges we have to deal with every day as we also strive to make improvements in our situation. And because of this day, the day that has brought us here, I think talking about that fits very well. You have been aware for a long time of many cases, and one particular one I want to talk about that is most recent, meaning at least in terms of new developments. If we may go by what we've been hearing and reading in the media which is always and we want it to be independent, but serves good political purposes for some people. There is the case between us and France that has been going on since the beginning of this new Rwanda, I think. And the case that was investigated, by the way, there is a case, this case was, first of all, as Rwanda, we wanted to have a good relationship. We wanted to clear this case that shouldn't have been there in the first place. So we submitted ourselves to saying, okay, let's you come here and have access to anything you want. So we provided access to anything any of these people asked for. They were all over the place, across the continent. They were all over wherever they wanted. And the case took slightly over 2 years, being investigated, worked on, and so on. And when it was coming to the end, after finding there was what they were looking for wasn't there and wasn't going to be supported by anything, what I'm reading in the media is that we should start all over again. Right? You know the case I'm talking about. So we are going to start all over again. And I have no problem with that. That is what I wanted to say. I have no problem that we start all over again. But starting all over again means a lot of things, in my view. First, starting all over again means I have to remind some people that this Rwanda, the judicial system of Rwanda, is not subordinate to France or to France's interests. So we were, from the beginning, under no obligation or any feeling that Rwanda was the Chief Justice talked about a colony and colonial times and colonial laws and so on. We are under no such things as far as we relate to countries, especially of this nature. Second, I think we are being put by this country and its legal system is actually where this country should be as it relates to the genocide here in Rwanda and its history. What I'm saying is it is France that should be in the dock being tried, not anybody in Rwanda and not Rwandans. Well, I know some of you might be panicking and saying, oh, France is... but you can just keep your cool and calm down. There's no worry about that. This is a case that is going to be sorted out one way or the other, and Rwanda is not going to suffer anything of this kind. So I think we've been abused in many ways now, this time twice. First, we have a case that shouldn't have been there in the first place. Second, we submitted ourselves to saying, let's cooperate and get rid of this case as they requested. And we just gave people benefit of the doubt. And we thought with the benefit of doubt, we could just continue normal relationship and move on. But now, so even with some few Africans associated with them in that case, can really do nothing about it other than just being poor and bad Africans themselves, which hurts them, not us. I think it's so we will start all over again. And start all over again means I may even ask, among the diplomats here, there are those who remember in the old days who, when instead of going for a visa in the French embassy, you would go to another embassy because the country of that embassy represented France's interests here. So starting all over again may mean that again. So I'm asking the one who did that good service to us to prepare to do that good service to us once again. So we're giving it time, we are calibrating it properly, and we are leading to that kind of situation. If starting all over again is a showdown, we will have a showdown. There's no problem about that. So again, don't worry, leave it to me, we'll handle it very it's not going to cost us much. When you are right, when it is you are right, it's never going to be costly to do the right thing. So it will not cost us much. We will deal with it I see some people excited in the media, some people who I have not seen in the media for a long time who are used to mudslinging Rwanda, they come back, but well, if it is another way of going back to their old job, they can do it. But I assure you, this is going to be sorted out without much in terms of cost on our side. So, once again, let me thank you for your commitment and assure you of continued support. The government will provide sufficient support from our own means, and I hope we shall continue to work together to build our country the way we want our country, not the way somebody else wants for us. Thank you very much.